You're a demon, apparently. Chapter 5. The wind whipped through your hair as you and Amber stood in the middle of the field. Given the situation, being in the open like this probably wasn't the best idea. Every so often, you looked nervously to the sky, almost waiting to see one of those Pegasi diving towards you at high speed. Okay, well, maybe not wimpy. She looked like the type to be afraid of heights. Although the elements were undoubtedly hunting you down now. It had been a few days since your escape from the compound, so they were likely awake and after you. Whatever Father had done probably wasn't lethal because releasing a toxic gas or whatever when you were close to it would have just been moronic. Then again, well, this was Father. Currently, your progress was impeded by decision. In this field, there was a set of train tracks of all things. A part of you wanted to be surprised, but at this point you felt sort of numb to this place's brand of crazy. You had 3 options: forward, left, or right. Doubling back was probably not the best idea for your continued survival. Ahead of you was more open field, which was, as previously mentioned, probably not the best idea. Train tracks meant civilization, and if nothing else, it was a better option to get supplies than foraging in the wilderness. To your left seemed to be a mountain range. Based on the vague recollection of your brief stint in scouting, you guessed it was to the north of you. It was a ways off, but still reachable. While the idea of climbing those didn't exactly excite you, it would be a good place to hide. The tracks to the south appeared to head to a bridge over a deep rocky gorge. So either way, it was rock climbing. It was just a matter of whether you wanted to go up first, then down, or vice versa. So, what you think? Left or right? You asked, turning to Amber. She thought for a moment, tapping her chin with a hoof.
If I remember right, Canterlot's to the north in the mountains. That's where the princesses are.
The princesses. The stupidly overpowered, possibly immortal, quasi-celestial deities I've been forcefully summoned to overthrow, despite my overall lack of powers, skills, or basic knowledge of the world I've found myself in. There was a long moment of silence as the two of you weighed your options. Right. You both say in unison. The air was cool in the chasm as you helped Amber clamber down the rocky slope. She was able to use her magic to clear down a path, but still needed your help past the steeper parts. Apparently, hooves weren't the best on rocky slopes. The bridge towered above you. You wished you could have crossed it, but it was too narrow for you to be comfortable. Besides, you've seen too many movies to trust train tracks on a bridge. It would just be your luck to meet a locomotive halfway across. To your dismay, the cliffside opposite was nearly straight up. There was no way that you could climb it, much less while helping Amber. Oh boy. What do you think? Should we head back up? You asked the unicorn.
I'd rather not. If we need to climb again, I think we should be making progress. We need to keep ahead of the elements.
She warned. You nod and look down to the chasm to your right. Maybe it flattens up down that way. We might as well keep going. Hours passed as you walked, your feet screaming in protest. The sky above turned orange as you assumed the sun was setting, and you couldn't see above the walls of the chasm. You noticed Amber was looking nervous. Well, even more nervous than normal. Amber, are you okay? You don't exactly look too good. You ask.
It's not good to be out in the open in a place like this, especially at night.
She whispered. Why? It's not like there's monsters out here, right? You joke. Amber didn't laugh, and instead kept looking over her shoulder. Right? You ask again, far less confident. She didn't answer, but the look she gave you was clear enough. Suddenly, finding a place to hole up for the night became your top priority. Ironically, the best place you found was, in fact, a hole. A decent-sized cave in the cliff, only a foot or so taller than yourself. You didn't want to take the risk in trying to find anywhere better, so this would have to do. Grateful for the rest, you sit against the cavern wall. Closing your eyes, you wondered if Amber was going to take her usual place in your lap. It had become her favorite place to sleep while you were with a cult, but ever since you'd left, she'd felt a bit distant. Sure enough, you've heard her hoofsteps stop nearby, followed by the shuffling sounds as she settled down. You cracked your eyes open and steal a glance at her. She was laying on her side against the opposite wall and staring intently at the cave's entrance. Her ears were upright and twitched at the slightest sounds. She reminded of you of a nervous cat, alert for any potential danger. Are there really monsters out there? You ask after a moment.
Father always said that the world was filled with monsters that would just gobble up any pony that they came across. I never knew if he was telling the truth, but
She shook her head.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
Do you want to talk about it?
Is that an order, Master?
No, of course not.
Then I think I'd rather get some sleep.
She laid down, clearly done with the conversation. You sigh to yourself and close your eyes again. If she didn't want to talk, you weren't going to force her. Settling into the most comfortable position that you could manage against the rocks, you let exhaustion take over. It didn't take long for you to drift off to sleep. After this chapter, this really does make me wonder if Amber might not be Anon's companion for much longer. Time will only tell, I suppose. Now let's stroll on over to our humble donators. Top donators, Dash of Evergreen, Peter Coulthard, J Tinman, Darkside, and Ponyman. CourierCruz CI, Delta Omega, Strix, Runescythe9852, Dospo, Ryanny Dragonwolf, Secret Moon, Tall Rasha, The Toilet Snake, Cerberus, Starlight Glimmer, Squiddy Boy, David E. Sanchez, Soul Dragon, Gaggy, Trey, Shadow Drake, Joe Piercy, Alex F., Rainbow Dash, Teal K. Anderson, TV Killer, and John Becker. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.